Hello friends, welcome to this session of Quality Hub India. Myself Aryan Vishwakarma, and this program today we are going to cover one of the very important core tool, that is Advanced Product Quality Planning. Before starting the program, let me request all the new viewers to get subscribed to our channel and also click on the bell icon. Do share or comment in the comment section, and don't forget to share the link of the video with your friends and colleagues so that they can also learn something from us and they can also participate in the journey of excellence. Friends, as we know that in quality management system, there are 5 core tools, and we are going to cover one of the very important core tool, that is Advanced Product Quality Planning, in this module. Before going forward, let me first tell you that the full form of APQP is Advanced Product Quality Planning, and this is not Advanced Product Quality Planning. While talking to many of the professionals, they call APQP as Advanced Product Quality Planning. So let me first tell you that the planning will always be in advance. So there is no point of having advanced planning, and the name is advanced. Advanced means it's a very high level of planning. So by making this advanced product quality planning, which is a high level of planning, you are ensuring that whatever product you are going to get developed, that is of required quality, that is going to meet the customer's requirement, that is going to meet the required productivity level, that is going to meet the delivery levels. That means that is going to comply with all the quality requirements, all the requirements from the customers, and all the requirement of the organization. Now friends, let's understand why there is a need of planning. Now this planning in any of the project helps us in many ways. For an example, when you make a planning, you are very much sure whether your project is in right track or it is going out of the track, so that you can initiate necessary action to bring the project back to the track. You can anticipate all the worst case happening, and accordingly you can make proactive approach for all the potential failure which is yet not happened but is going to happen in future. It also helps you in making contingency planning. You can anticipate various problems which might arise during the course of the project, and you can initiate actions well in advance. It also helps you ensuring proper validation and proper verification of the product during the course of the product development. It also helps you in reducing the overall cycle time of product development. You ensure better communication amongst yourself within organization, with your suppliers, and with your customers as well. And overall we can say that you ensure customer satisfaction and satisfaction of your management. Now we have understood that planning is good, and there are various benefits of making a good plan. Now we should also understand what really gets in the way of making a good plan. The first important point which I have seen in many of the organizations is that lack of management commitment. That means when the management is not committed to a systematic approach of product development, your project is going to fail. As the top management is to involve himself during the course of the project development for many activities like removing bottlenecks, participating in discussion, providing required support, required resources, and motivating team in doing the systematic approach of project management. If there is lack of discipline amongst team members, your project is going to fail. Unclear priorities also being identified as one of the major concern for many of the project failures. If the priority of the team leader, the priority of the top management is not very much clear where they need to focus, which are the priority areas, the people within the team, they may not be focusing on the right areas, and they might be focusing in some of the areas which may not be very relevant or very important for the project success. If the responsibility of the team members are not very clear, responsibilities are not very clearly defined, then probably you are going to waste lots of time and your project might get delayed. If the knowledge among the team members about APQP, about project development, about problem solving, if the knowledge is not there, you might stuck in the midway of the project looking for solutions, and your project might get delayed. If there is no clear-cut direction from the management regarding the priorities, regarding the focus areas, the project will suddenly get delayed and you are going to fail. And if overall environment of the organization is not very conducive for systematic approach of project development, if you are not getting required support from all the corners, from the top management, from the middle management, and from the shop floor associates, your project is going to get delayed or you are going to fail. So friends, reason for discussing all these points in advance is that as a project leader, as a leader of this APQP project, if you are well aware in advance about all these aspects of project management, you can initiate corrective actions or preventive action well in advance so that the chances of the success of your project goes up. Friends, we have understood what is planning and why there is a need of planning and why there are certain projects which fails. Certain reasons we have already discussed and we have understood. Now, what exactly is quality planning? So, if I have to define what is quality planning, I can say that it's a systematic approach to understand all the customer's requirement and to ensure that all those requirements are systematically met. Now, let's deep dive into APQP and understand what is advanced product quality planning. So friends, APQP is not just a quality tool, it is much more than that. It helps you ensure that the product development is on a systematic approach and you are going to fulfill all the customer's requirement. You are going to complete the project on time with a multidisciplinary approach. That means you involve people from various departments who are having relevant knowledge and they can contribute positively to the success of this project development program. It is also a program wherein your supplier is involved to support you achieve your customer's requirement. You might be requiring various products, various raw materials or developing jigs, fixtures or tools from the suppliers. So suppliers' involvement is also very much important for the success of these projects. It also helps you in early identification of all the potential failure so that you can initiate suitable actions to avoid all the future problems. And it also facilitates you in a better communication within your organization, with your suppliers and with your customer as well. Now friends, for a good product quality planning, we need to ensure certain critical aspects which we are going to cover now. The first important point is that to have a good cross-function team. Friends, if you refer ISO 9001-2015, which is a general quality management system standard for all the industries, and if you refer IATF 16949, which is a quality management system standard for automotive industries, it talks about multidisciplinary approach, which is quite similar to the approach of cross-function team. So this multidisciplinary team approach basically talks about involving people from various departments who are relevant to the success of your project, and you might involve people from various departments like quality assurance, from engineering, from your purchasing department, from marketing. You might involve your suppliers, your customers as well. So good cross-function team or multidisciplinary team is very much important for the success of your project. The next important thing is defining the scope. If you are the project leader, it is your responsibility to clearly define the scope of the project to all the team members present in the team so that they are clear about what exactly we are going to do, what are the do's and don'ts of the projects, which are the area which is within the scope of the project and which is outside the scope of the project. And certain critical aspects like cost, timing and constraints and other things needs to be considered during this course of scope defining. Friends, communication is also very important. So you need to define how you are going to communicate within your team members, with the suppliers and with the customer during the course of this project development. And the next critical aspect is training, which is very important. So during the course of the project, you might feel like certain team members, they require some specialized training, like training program on problem solving, training program on maybe some of the core tools like SPC, MSA, FMEA, or in fact the APQP itself or PPAP even. So as a project leader, you need to identify the training needs of your team members and you need to plan to bridge the gap in the competency levels. Also, the customer and supplier involvement is very much critical. In some of the project development, I have seen that they are not involving their suppliers and customers, and when they are approaching towards the closure of the project, they might feel like certain things which have been missed. If they would have involved the suppliers and customers in right time, they might have got some support which would have helped them in the success of their project. So you need to involve your customers and suppliers suitably in your project development. This product quality planning process helps you in doing simultaneous engineering. It means that with a systematic approach, you can plan to do certain activities parallelly in the project development. Say for an example, in your project, you need to develop a fixture, a jig and a panel checker. And for all of these three activities, there are three suppliers. Now this APQP activities helps you in planning all these three activities parallelly. That means simultaneously you can develop all the three suppliers and you can plan to develop jigs, fixtures and panel checkers in one go. So with this simultaneous engineering, you save lots of time. This product quality planning also helps you in developing control plan in all the 3 phases of APQP, that is prototype phase, pre-launch phase and production phase. This also helps you in concern resolution. That means during the course of the project, whatever quality issues are arising, you take a systematic approach of problem solving to overcome all those issues. You initiate corrective and preventive actions on all the difficult situations and on quality issues. Timeline chart is one of the very much important aspects of advanced product quality planning, and this timeline chart is a sort of your Gantt chart or plan which helps you in aligning your team members, including your suppliers and customers, keeping them in right track, ensuring you that your project would be completed on time, and if the project is going out of track, you can take suitable action to bring it back to the track. Now friends, the question also comes when APQP is suitable. That means when it is appropriate to initiate advanced product quality planning initiative. So whenever you are doing a new product development, at that time APQP is appropriate. That means you need to initiate advanced product quality planning to successfully drive the product development activities during all the new development activities. And also whenever there are incorporation of any new changes, or we can say engineering change notification, that is ECN or PCN, you can initiate APQP activities. Now friends, let's understand what are the 5 phases of advanced product quality planning activities. So here in this chart you can see there are basically 5 phases given. The first phase is plan and define program. The second one is product design and development verification. Third one is process design and development verification. And the fourth phase is product and process validation. And the fifth and last phase is feedback, assessment and corrective actions. Now let's understand these phases in little bit of more details. The first phase is plan and define program. That means you need to plan and you need to define the scope of the project you are developing, the new product development. You need to prepare your timeline chart. You need to form a team members. So all those sort of activities need to be done in the first phase, that is plan and define program. And once you are done with your planning activities, you need to go to the second step, that is product design and development verification. Now friends, the second phase would be only applicable to the companies who are design responsible. If you are not product design responsible, if you are only responsible for process design, that means you are not designing your own product, you are getting drawing from your customers, then you need to only initiate this first phase. Then you need to work on the third phase, fourth phase and fifth phase. That means the second phase would not be applied to you if you are not product design responsible. So the second phase talks about product design and development verification. That means you need to design and develop the product and you need to verify. And once your verification is done for product design, you need to verify for process design. So you can see the sequence over here. The second and third phase is verification. Okay. And the second one is product design verification and the third one is process design verification. That means after product design verification, I need to go for process design verification. And once my second and third phase, that is verification, is done, I would go for validation. So my fourth phase is product and process validation. So here in this second and third phase, I am doing verification separately for product and for process. And in the fourth phase, I am doing the validation in a combined way for both my product and process. And the final phase, that is feedback, assessment and corrective action. That means whatever product I have developed, I have verified, I have validated. Now I would be reviewing the entire project, all the steps. I would be taking feedback from all the concerned members, from my suppliers, from my customers. I would be making assessment of how the project is going on, if there are any gap areas, if there are any action needs to be initiated. And after I identify all those gap areas, I need to initiate corrective actions. So in the broad way, these are the 5 phases of APQP. And also you can see over here, the straight line dropping over here, this talks about launch phase. And as we know that our control plans have 3 phases, that is prototype, pilot and launching, which is based on the APQP phases only. So here my product is launched, and once my product is launched over here, my SOP, that is start of production, is happening. Okay. So my production is happening over here after my launch phase. Okay. And before launch phase, you can see my piloting is done, and before piloting my prototype is happening. So here during this mid phase, that That means between my product design and development verification and process design and development verification, I am doing my prototyping, and once my prototype is over, I go for piloting or pre-launch. This piloting is also called pre-launch. So I am doing my pre-launch activities before product and process validation. And after my piloting activities, I am doing my launching over here. Okay, which is also a beginning of your production activities. And you can see the zigzag line over here, which basically shows that these are ongoing activities. That means you will keep on doing your production activities and keep on taking feedback and doing assessment of the processes, and you will initiate corrective action suitably. Now friends, let's proceed further and understand what exactly you need to do in each of the phases of advanced product quality planning. What are the inputs and what are the outputs of each of the phases. So the first phase is plan and define program, and as we have already discussed, there are various activities needs to be done and which are basically inputs to this phase. So let's understand some of the inputs which is required to this phase. The first one is voice of customer. That means you basically need to understand what exactly is your customer's requirement, and for that you need to interact with your customers to understand their requirement. There are various ways of getting customer inputs for this phase. The second one is business plan and marketing strategy, which is very much critical. You need to have your strategy very clear, how much cost you are going to incur, what is going to be your target of productivity, what is going to be your quality target. Because based on this marketing strategy or business strategy, the project team, they are going to align their goals according to the business strategy. The next critical element is benchmarking data. You need to have the benchmarking data from the similar product, from the similar processes. For an example, you need to know what exactly is the PPM level, what is the process capability index for the similar product happening in the competitor's place, or what is the industry benchmark, because based on all the benchmark on productivity, on quality, on delivery, on the cost, the project team can align their goals and they can make the strategy to develop the product suitably. And you need to also set targets for product quality, life, reliability, durability, maintainability, timing and cost. These are all going to be input for this project development. And also you need to have special characteristics. That means you need to understand what exactly is critical to quality, critical to process as far as the customer is concerned. What is the requirement of the customer in terms of identification, in terms of traceability. If the product is going to fail in the field, how you are going to trace back the number, how you are going to trace the batch in which the defective part is being produced. So all these are inputs which needs to be understood during the course of this phase. So these are the inputs which is required for this phase 1, that is plan and define program, and these are the outputs you are going to get out of this phase. So by the end of this phase, you will be having your design goals very clear. You will be setting your quality and reliability goals. You will be also setting up preliminary bills of materials. This is called preliminary because in the initial phase, whatever bills of material or BOM or the parts you are going to assemble in a particular product, if it is an assembly product, you are going to set. And preliminary means this might be getting revised in subsequent phases. So you can see over here, we are making preliminary bills of material, preliminary process flow chart, and preliminary list of special characteristics, product and process during the course of this phase. Because once we finalize as an output of this phase, this might get changed in the course of the subsequent phases. The second phase of APQP is product design and development, and this only applies to companies who are design responsible, and there are many activities you are going to do during the course of this second phase. You will be doing design failure modes and effect analysis for your product design. You will be also reviewing the suitability of manufacturing and assembly of the product. That means you will be doing design for manufacturability and assembly, which in short is known as DMA. And the prototype building of the product is also being done in the second phase only. You will be also finalizing your engineering drawing over here, and along with that you will be also finalizing engineering specifications, material specifications. You are also going to set target for productivity. You are going to set target for process capability. That means CPCPK and PPPPK, and also setting target for the cost of the product. In this phase, you will be also proposing if there is a need of any new equipment, any new tooling or facility requirement. Now, during the course of this phase, whatever these requirements we are identifying, these all are reviewed in subsequent phases. That means in process design and development we will be also reviewing, and subsequent phases also, and these all might get altered or changed during the course of the project. You will be also finalizing special product and process characteristics, finalizing your prototype control plan, and identifying need of any gauge or testing equipment requirement. Team feasibility commitment or management requirement is very much critical. The top management needs to get involved. They need to review if the project is running successfully or not, if the team requires any support, if there are any bottlenecks which needs to be removed. So the top management needs to review completion of each of the phases, and they need to support the team leader and team members to successfully clear all the set criteria. Now coming to third phase. The third phase talks about process design and development. So product design and development we have already done. If we are product design responsible, the company is not product design responsible, doesn't matter, but they have to have process design responsibility. So this phase is a must for each of the organizations. So during the course of this phase, you will be setting your packing standard, you will be deciding your process flow chart, making floor plan layout. Floor plan layout, it means that you will be making a layout plan. That means where you are going to position your machines, how the product is going to move, how the material is going to flow, how his operator is going to manage the things, where the inventory will be kept. So all these things needs to be identified and considered in defining this floor plan layout. And beside that, you will be also doing some more activities like potential failure modes and effect analysis you will be doing. You will be making pre-launch control plan, identifying all those opportunities for mistake proofing, making plan for MSA, and identifying packaging specifications. And in the fourth phase, we will be doing product and process validation, and here we will be doing production trial run, and we will be doing all those activities covered in PPAP. And as we know that there are 5 levels of PPAP, so whichever levels are applying to you or according to whatever level you are working on, you need to work on all the documents required in the levels you are working on, and after completion of the PPAP, you need to submit the PPAP to the customer for approval. And we will be also making production control plan, which is the third phase of control plan. The prototype control plan and pre-launch control plan we have already done in previous phases, and in this fourth phase, we will be making our final control plan, that is production control plan, which is not only going to be used right now, but during the later on course of the production. And you will be also preparing for quality planning sign-off. That means you will be planning for formal handover of the development activities to the process owners. And the fifth and last phase is feedback, assessment, and corrective action. As the name suggests, it is basically talking about assessing whatever is happening, whether that is happening right or not, taking feedback from the process owners. If there is any opportunity for improvement, you need to identify all those gap areas and initiate suitable corrective and preventive actions. So if there is any suggestion for modification in drawing, you need to amend that. You need to conduct preliminary process capability study over here, conduct measurement system analysis, production testing validation you need to conduct, and take formal feedback from the customers about the development activities, and based on the input, initiate corrective actions. So friends, I hope that in this brief session of advanced product quality planning, you must have understood the concept of this important core tool. If you learned something in this video, don't forget to like the video and share the link of the video with your friends and colleagues. And don't forget to visit our website www.qualityhappiness.com. We have lots of online training cum certification program. Don't forget to check them and apply for them. This is Aryan Vishwakarma signing off now. Until the next video, take care friends. Jai Hind.